So welcome everyone. Here is the PYP Traveler, and today we have a special guest. We have Miss Susan Powers, who will guide us through the exhibition, the PYP Exhibition. And before that, I would like to say that I'm very honored to host you, Susan, to my channel.
Thank you very much, Vasily. I'm delighted to be here. I'm excited.
And we're going to watch a presentation that you prepared just for us.
Okay, excellent. Well, allow me to introduce myself first of all. For those who don't know me, my name is Susan Powers. I am the voice behind PYPteachingtools.com. I have been an inquiry teacher for 24 years, and I've been with the IB PYP since 2005. And I'm going to share a presentation so that I can walk you through my strategies and tools that I have for the exhibition. I actually created this for my students, which is basically a step-by-step document that also has a digital version. And I'm going to take you through it, the pages, the different sections, and we'll go from there.
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to go share my screen.
Sure.
And let me pull that up. Okay. So here we go. Get this together. Okay. So as I said, allow me to introduce myself. Basically, what I have been involved with the exhibition for 15 years as a mentor and also as the lead facilitator for 8 of those years. So for 8 years, I was the lead facilitator with my grade 5s in various countries. And so I have tried the exhibition in various different ways. You know, the exhibition is it's a significant culminating project in which the children in the last year or two of the IB Primary Years program, they participate, and it's a mammoth task. So this is one of the reasons I created this tool that I'm about to share with you right now. So I designed this resource as a guide and as a working tool using my experience with the IB PYP upper grades. And really, there's no single way to implement the exhibition. But over the years and in those different schools and different countries, I've gathered a wealth of knowledge and experience from my peers, from my experiences. And so it's my goal to share those materials with you and these ideas with you so that it becomes this step-by-step guide with a suggested timeline. And you can choose to pick and choose the pages as it suits you, because we all have different sizes of groups that are working through it. So I like to bind and copy it. But as I said, we're now a lot of us doing this virtual exhibition, and so it comes in a digital resource as well. And throughout the whole thing, you'll find that it's structured to encourage maximum independence and agency with your students. What to expect? Well, you may be brand new to the exhibition. You may be coming to this video with some experience, but really the exhibition is an in-depth collaborative inquiry that demonstrates the children's engagement in and knowledge of the primary years program, the essential elements. And it may be within the program of inquiry, or it could be within an additional inquiry entirely, meaning that it may be using one of the themes of your program inquiry, or the children can create their own inquiry. But either way, it provides the students with an opportunity to show their independence for their own learning, as well as their responsibility with a collaborative group endeavor. It's oftentimes a collaborative group endeavor. And even if you don't have enough students to do small groups, the children who are working on those independent inquiries are still collaborating with the community, with their mentors, and so on. So we're asking them to do a lot. And it ends with a presentation of the accumulative work of the children, usually consisting of something written, some technology in there, something from the arts, And finally, you have this time for reflecting upon the entire experience, which enables the children to look back at their intellectual and emotional development. We have the whole child aspect here, and then they compare it with their pre-assessment and midway through. So this ongoing reflection, it takes them through the entire experience. So when you are the teacher facilitator, this gives you some understanding as to what is expected from you. So your role is to ensure that all the major features of the program are reflected throughout the process. So you facilitate the student process as they meet with their mentors, as they and you're also assessing the children throughout the process. So it's very much there's a lot of conferencing, a lot of lots of feedback, basically. And I have provided this timeline within this resource as a general guide. So it's recommended basically for 6 to 8 weeks when you're hitting the exhibition. I know that some schools can do this for the whole year long, but you'll find this timeline that is a suggested timeline that kind of helps you to gauge where you're at and what's coming next. So when we have this exhibition, we are asking a lot from the kids. We really are. We're asking them to demonstrate their knowledge and their understanding. We ask them to do all of this.
And the first feeling they have is terrifying actions, you know, like, oh, we will fail and all of that.
That's right. And they hear about it as they're coming up to the primary school. You know, they hear about it and it's this big thing that looms ahead of them. And so we want to make it this process. We want to make it step by step, and we want to give them the opportunity to be able to have ownership of it as well. So this resource really really helps with that. It gives them the tools. And we really look a lot at how the concepts fit into planning and inquiry, because that's basically what they're doing. They're planning their inquiry. So, okay, well, let's look at how we can help the children to develop their own inquiries. But let's continue here. And so we ask them to bring all of this together through structured guidance, right? We have the structure and we're guiding them through it. And we ask them to bring all of their skills together, and we ask them usually to do this within 6 to 8 weeks. So you have, some people have a year to work through all of this, but most do not. Most do it in that 6 to 8 week time period. And there's no denying that it is intense for all involved, but it's so very rewarding, right?
It's true, yeah, it's true.
It's so very rewarding. It's that proud teacher moment at the end. All right, so in the beginning, I highly recommend that you spend time in the review and reflection section of this resource, reviewing and reflecting on the essential elements. Definitely for the first week of the process, ensuring the children's understanding of each element, as well as giving them a clear expectation of both the journey that they're now embarking on, and also the final outcome. So for the first week of the process, give them the chance to look at each aspect, the learner profile, the approaches to learning skills, allow them the opportunity to develop a deeper understanding of the theme and the related concepts within each theme. And then all of this encompasses the approaches to learning skills. So especially self-management skills and social skills, because it's largely a collaborative activity, and it's oftentimes on a time frame. So important for those skills. Now, since reflection and assessment is an ongoing part of the journey, it's so important to have a starting point for the children. And we provide the opportunities for the children to reflect on themselves in the beginning, and it's revisited throughout. So you'll find lots of materials in this resource where the children can assess themselves, evaluate where they are, and then come back to those tools. So midway through and at the end for that final reflection as well. So they can see how they've progressed, they can see how they've grown. Now I have included self-assessments as well. So you've got this entire section, which is filled with tools for reflection and assessment. Self-assessment, the children can keep a journal or a binder, a folder throughout the exhibition that shows their goals. And I highly recommend that, especially if you're working virtually, that they do keep those materials either in a digital file or they print them and keep them in a folder. So part of the self-management skills. And then it helps them, as I said earlier, to assess themselves using checklists, rubrics, it's all in there. So as we spend time in the beginning reinforcing those thinking skills, again, the approaches to learning thinking skills with conceptual understanding, all of this will be used to frame their inquiry. So it acts as a pre-assessment tool, but in addition, there are activities in there that reinforce the approaches to learning skills, particularly, as I said, the self-management and the social skills, especially for conflict resolution, because you're dealing with individuals and they all have their own ideas, and it's such an important part of collaboration.
And actually, if like in the previous graphic organizer, you showed that they have to, like color how important it is to be, like responsible and independent and all of that, you can tell about the personality of each student. And then themselves, they can see, like what is important to each other. And of course, you as a facilitator, you can determine where you have to focus your attention to, or how you can, like control a little bit, or, advise the group to work more,
You're absolutely right. And what that does, Vasilis, is it gives us, when they're filling out those graphic organizers, those charts, if you like, it's giving us and their mentors the opportunity to see exactly what you said, who the personality is that they're going to be working with. So it's a good insight from the teacher's perspective, from the mentor's perspective as well. Yeah.
True.
Okay, the transdisciplinary theme. So we don't want to forget the importance of transdisciplinary theme. It plays a large role in the planning part of the inquiry. It's far more than simply a title. And I think it's so important that the children understand that also, especially if they're going to be choosing their own theme, because within the theme, we have, clues to the related concepts within that as well. So it allows them this opportunity to really analyze and evaluate where they're going to go forward with this. Now, at this point, the children are identifying the issues or the passions that they want to explore. So they're brainstorming. This is a brainstorming activity, and this is where the collaborative groups oftentimes are established, because you can now see where the similarities are with the inquiries, who wants to know what, and how they can be combined, connected. So this is really the coming together for the topic of the exhibition. And so I offer tools to help with that, suggestions as well for breaking it down into local issues, global issues, and so on. Now, collaboration. Since collaboration is such an enormous part of the journey, we want to establish these norms, these basically essential agreements, right? Not just between the children in the groups, which is your self-management social skills, but also with their mentor, with the teacher facilitator. So we have these agreements that we can use as well, and it allows the opportunity for the discussion to take place. Okay, so now we move on to the inquiry and research section, and into framing the inquiry basically, and beginning the process of discovery. So this is the inquiry and research section, and this is the step-by-step guide through the process, through the inquiry process. Now, because there are so many different inquiry processes out there, and there's no one right way to do it. It's more, this offers more of a generic look at through the process. So what we start with, because remember, we've already done the background work. We've already reviewed formulating questions. So we start with writing our questions, so that you'll find organizers for planning the inquiry, formulating the conceptual questions, adding depth to the inquiry. And these are all tools that allow the children to be able to do this with greater independence. Now, obviously, you can differentiate depending on the children's needs, and you can step in, but it provides this level of structure that gives them that opportunity to be more agentic, I suppose is what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. So we have there's different graphic organizers in here. It guides them through how to categorize their questions, how to take their questions to that higher level. And the whole way through, it's guiding the children through those related concepts and the key concepts, and recording their data and analyzing their data. So they're now in the sorting out process. Mm-hmm. When we frame the lines of inquiry and the central idea, I use this model when co-planning with the kids. So my kids are used to co-planning right from the beginning of the year, but not all children are going to be able to do that. We've got all kinds of different levels of experience of the inquiry process coming in.
And new enrollments throughout the year.
I'm sorry?
And new enrollments throughout the year. So that
yes,
also
exactly.
changes the mixture of the class.
Exactly. You've got these kids who are thrown into, especially in the exhibition. Yeah. So this model I use when co-planning, and basically, in effect, what's happening with this is that this is what the children are doing in the exhibition groups. So they start by identifying their issues, their theme, their issues, their related concepts, what it is that they are curious about, where they want to take their inquiry. And then with their mentor and the teacher facilitator, they can narrow the inquiry down through the concepts, but they use those concepts and they use the related concepts to create their lines of inquiry, and then their broad central, their central idea, the general statement. So this is typically the model that I use when I'm doing this with them. It gives the kids that visual as to the whole planning process, so it really helps them with that whole planning step. And also, we also have to plan the action as well.
Exactly.
We ask a lot of them. So this section with planning to take action, it includes materials to use when planning this part of the exhibition. And so it's got steps for how to work towards an interview, how to plan an interview, how to write an interview. It's got those field trip proposal forms, which helps with giving them the responsibility and the management of the field trip, so that it helps with the teachers not got everything on their plate. So they've got all these things that they can complete prior to figuring it all out and actually going there. And of course, nowadays we've got these virtual field trips too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so putting it all together. All right, so now they've worked their way through this. They've got the research, they've got the data, and so we're now getting to the steps where they have to put it all together for presentation. So this section includes materials to use when planning the unit, which action to take and which interview and so on, and field trip proposals, as I said. And then they're putting it all together. They have to cite their sources. They have to figure out how they're going to present, which materials they're going to use, the whole planning of the presentation, who's going to say what, etc., etc.
I love these graphic organizers.
You do good.
I seriously, I can't express how relieved a teacher that is responsible for the PYP exhibition is by using these organizers, because it's so it saves so much time, and it actually helps the students so much to put all their ideas in place, and then they
Huh?
organize it in a productive way that they can even, like, reflect and go back on this in the process of, like, when they are doing it. So this ongoing reflection, which is actually one of the enhancements of the PYP, is so useful in the exhibition, especially when, like, as you said, the students are overwhelmed by all the things
Yeah.
they need to do. So if they have, like, their sources there or their prior thoughts, then that gives them the motive to move on, and it becomes
Uh-huh.
even better in the process.
Totally agree with you. Over the years, I have I've gone through the horrors of lost reflections, and I've tried to do all digitally as well. So having this weekly self-evaluation uh, of themselves and of themselves, where they are within the process and the steps, and it gives them that outlet, I guess, because they go through the excitement, but it can be quite stressful as well at some points. And so it allows them to, we're reflecting on the whole child, not just the academic part of it, but also the emotional side of it as well. And then that weekly coming together with their group. I mentioned earlier about conflict resolution, and I have found that in the beginning, they're full of enthusiasm and excitement and some nerves, but then sort of as they progress a few weeks into it, that's when the conflict resolution
Oh,
really
yes.
um,
Especially when the deadlines are not met, and then
yes,
like, some students did not do what they had to do, and they're running
yes,
back.
yes.
Of
And so
course.
let's be, let's be realistic here. We're dealing with individuals, and so having this reflection section is vital. And as I said, well, we obviously had to go digital with everything because of our remote learning and virtual experiences, but prior to that, I liked to have the children have those files, the reflection file, and they keep those things in them so that they can look back, as you said, and see how they're growing. And when you have those moments where they are just deflated or frustrated, you can point out, oh, look how you did this really well. How about we try that the next time as well? So it offers the opportunity for some kind of structure and guidance, so that we can also help to guide them through that the process and the emotional process of it all as well.
And
So
reinforcing the reflective and the risk
yeah,
taker learner profile, like, it
yes,
helps a lot.
exactly. Within the section, there are numerous resources for reflection and assessment, guides the weekly reflection sheets as well, for self-reflection as well as reflection. You've got goal setting, you've got task assignments in there, and I've included rubrics too, if your school prefers to work with such things. And there's also the side of it where you can have the children work on developing and adapting the rubric too. So the self-assessment part of it, the children can keep it in their journal or their binder throughout the exhibition, and it shows their goals and it shows their thinking as they evolve, because they're evolving. It's a 6 to 8 week or year-long process of evolution.
True.
And so they can assess themselves using those checklists and using those rubrics as well. Okay, so the assessment, obviously with the teacher's feedback included, it's suggested, these are suggestions, the techniques are supported by the IB, and we use informal and ongoing assessment. So this can be a mixture of those checklists, one-to-one meetings. It can be evaluating, it can be the rubrics that are helping with the evaluation and the assessment, that the students progress with the essential elements and their understanding of the process of the exhibition as they're working with these tools. So it's all coming together, and it really helps them move forward before their next, the next big step into the MYP or whatever they're heading. And so The final presentation of the exhibition actually acts as a summative assessment, if you like. You know, the final reflection of the process can also be included within that assessment. So there you have it. That's my tool that I created that really helped my kids work through the exhibition. And you can actually, if you go to pypteachingtools.com/pypx, you're able to find more information about those steps through the journey to the exhibition. And I hope that helps anybody.
I'm sure that this will help thousands of teachers out there. Is amazing for the PYP exhibition. From now onwards, Susan Powers is the PYP exhibition guru. Like, this is what I will say.
Thank you.
No, of course. And thank you so much for being here. And I hope that everyone there will be helped a lot from your tool and will visit your site. And of course, they will purchase your amazing tool. And good luck for everyone for your PYP exhibition.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
good luck. Good luck. Feel free to reach out anytime.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you very much, Vasily.